Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us. K&A Custom Crafts on Facebook.
Good evening, everyone. It is another Wednesday night, another episode of the Bo and Joe Show with our featured contributor, Adrian Ferris. I don't know what happened. Adrian's on top. You got bumped down, Bodine. You're on the bottom of the screen tonight. I don't know. It could be a demotion.
Hey, listen. My entire football career was always proving I could play. I have no problem coming off the bench and being in the rotation because that's what my career was. So I'm okay with it.
All right, perfect. So, well, let me ask you gentlemen, how was your week and how are you doing? And then I'm going to segue right into, I'm sure, something that's on the top of your list. I'm going to preemptively cut right to it. But how are you doing tonight, Bodine?
Well, listen, it was a bloodbath last week, right? Last weekend, Saturday and Sunday, right? From the college games. Undefeated teams going down. They came out with the rankings yesterday, and then it rolled right into Sunday. Top teams got their butts handed to them. So their gluteus maximus was sore when they woke up on Monday morning. And so, yeah. How about you, Adrian?
Yeah, I had a good week. Enjoyed the weekend watching a lot of football and watching some of the best offenses in the league just get shut down this weekend. It was absolutely amazing how that came about, just one after the other. And then finish it off Monday with a terrible officiating performance in the Steelers-Bears game. Pretty much took a game from the Bears. So, definitely a lot to talk about this week. Looking forward to it.
Well, all right, so I'm going to jump right in. I'm going to give you your props. What about that OBJ, Bodine? You called it last week, so we got to give it to you. We gotta give. Where's George tonight? George isn't tuning in. We should have pinged him in, but you certainly you proved everybody wrong, and you were right on. You called it.
Well, listen, I've been called many names from Bodinsky to Bo Diddley to Bo Nose, right? So call me Bostadamus because I had a feeling that wasn't going to last. It just didn't make sense based on OBJ's history of causing chaos and making people uncomfortable. You don't need that when you're trying to win. And look what the Cleveland Browns did. They went out and played great football. So it's a win-win situation for everybody. OBJ is going to end up with a contender. They're going to use him. He's going to play well. Everybody's, wash their hands and, move on to the next game. So, yeah.
All right. Well, let's put you on the spot again. Where do you think he's going?
Well, listen, to me, the best place for him to go would be Oakland because they can use him immediately and he's not going to cause a problem regarding how many times he gets the ball thrown to him. But if he goes to Kansas City, doesn't make sense. If he goes to Seattle, that makes a little more sense than Kansas City because the quarterback for Seattle, Russell Wilson, will get him the ball because Russell can throw the rock, right? But I just think Oakland's the best place for him. But we'll see. What do you think?
Well, obviously he has a choice in this matter. So he cleared waivers.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody picked him up, so that means that he gets to make his choice. Question is, who's going to pay him and how much they're going to pay? Are they going to pay him? And the other question is does he want to go somewhere where they're a winner, or is his mindset that I want to go to a winner, or is his mindset that I need to be the guy and be targeted, and how many times am I going to be targeted in a game? Hopefully it's the former, and he wants to go to a team that, that's going to win. With that said, the leaders in the stable are the Packers, and the Chiefs. I think both are good places for him for a couple reasons. The Chiefs are struggling. They only have two. They have Kelsey. They have Travis Kelsey, and they have their guy
Cheetah.
that takes them over the top. Yeah,
Cheetah.
and right. So they need a third receiver. So that would be a great place for them, I think. But their real issue in my mind is the running game in Kansas City. I don't think it's going to matter whether he goes there or not if that running game doesn't show up and they get some balance in that offense. The Packers obviously are a really good fit. Put him on the other side of Devontae Adams, and you have obviously a quarterback in Aaron Rodgers that can get him the ball and can do some things that rookie quarterbacks or someone, they're talking about the Saints. I don't know that he wants to go to the Saints to, where there's a quarterback that's a backup and trying to prove himself. He needs to go somewhere where, someone's going to get him the ball.
Well, you're forgetting the most important part. Joe, you can jump in now before I start the important part. You want to add to it before I add the important part?
Let's go to the important part.
Salary cap, baby. Who can afford him?
Oh, yeah, true.
And Oakland can afford him. Dallas can afford him. Kansas City cannot afford him because they're paying their quarterback $1 billion, right? Yeah. I mean, $500 million is his contract, right? So who can afford to pay him? Green Bay ain't going to pay him because they don't even want to pay their quarterback. That's why he wants to leave. And remember, Green Bay is not owned by an individual. It's owned by the stakeholders, which is the fans. So they have to meet that budget criteria no matter what, right? If they could afford OBJ, they should have been spending that money on defense to help Aaron Rodgers get back to a Super Bowl. And that's why he's unhappy because they're not paying defensive guys to come in. And it's cold. So OBJ is from where? Louisiana, right? He likes warm weather. To me, the best place to fit him in who can afford him, because Oakland can afford him because of them cutting that wide receiver that was in the accident. That doesn't hurt. There's a hardship clause, so to speak, to help them manage that money because they had to cut him because of that situation. So they're not going to get hurt by bringing him in his $7 million a year, right? So it's really, and then Tampa. People are talking Tampa. Is there enough balls in Tampa? No, but it's a better way of getting a Super Bowl. But can they afford him in Tampa? So it's all about who can afford him too. Can Seattle afford him? I don't think so.
Tampa already said they're out. They don't want him.
Boom. And you know what?
They don't need him.
I saw that quote. What did the coach say? We got too many syllables or too many
letters. They said
too many letters already with AB, right?
AB, Antonio
because we got too many letters anyway. So that was pretty cute the way he said that. I think
so.
Go ahead.
Well, they listed the teams that said they had significant interest, and I'll read them off. It said the Chiefs, Packers, Seahawks, Patriots, and the Saints have all been quoted as saying they have significant interest in OBJ. So
yeah, but you can't take that with a grain of salt because they all lie. They all lie.
The Packers, they say the Packers have already been in touch with him, and the one thing that we're going to have to remember is even though there is a salary cap, salaries can be modified. Salary money can be turned into bonus money to make room. So if the team wants him bad enough, and if the teammates like an Aaron Rodgers or a Patrick Mahomes, if they want him on the team bad enough, well, I'm sure they'd be willing to make some adjustments to those salaries so that they can fit him in under that cap.
That's true.
And that's what'll happen.
If the teammates want to make those adjustments, right? You have to go to your players that are making the big dollars and say, we need to restructure your contract. We need to restructure your contract. Do you want your contract restructured to get this guy on the team? If somebody says no, you got problems, right? So it's a team game. It's a team decision. It's not just a general manager's and owner's decision. It's a team decision. So let's see what happens. I just think Oakland is the best place. He's going to get the ball thrown to him without a doubt. It's in a great weather location, and then it's a new stadium that they're playing in. He can, dude, with his personality, going to the Raiders, silver and black. Oh my God, he's got his PR people and marketing people are like, let's eat this up. You can make so much money in Vegas. So it's not just about that salary, it's about the whole entire program. How can, and the Raiders aren't garbage. If you look at, right, you can pull up the standings. Ferris, pull up the standings. They're all one or two games behind each other.
Oh yeah, the AFC West, you know, everybody is
right there.
6-3, 5-4.
They're Vegas is 5-2. Chargers are 5-3. No, they're all those two are 5-3, and then Denver and Kansas City is 5-4. They're
all within a half game of each other.
The AFC West and the AFC North are all in the window of making it to the playoffs. And remember, there's 7 teams this year, not 6. So you got 7 teams from the AFC and 7 teams from the NFC. Only 1 team from each conference gets a bye. Everybody else is in the playoffs and wild card. So you got 12. You literally got 4, 8, 9, 10, 11 teams in the AFC vying for a playoffs. And you've got 5, 6, 7 teams vying for playoffs in the NFC.
You've got 11 teams in the AFC, 1, 2, 3, 4, that are all within 2 games, within 2 games of each other for 7 spots.
I told you that extra game is going to come into play this year. The league knew what they were doing. They knew.
So Sharon's agreeing with you. She's saying that he's going to go to Las Vegas. Sharon Mullen.
Hey, Sharon.
So we have, Justin, who disagrees. He says he's going to want to play for the Patriots because they're going to win the division.
He's such a homer.
and Brandon is saying Odell should call it an NFL career and go play in the XFL league or play some golf. So I doubt that's going to happen. So even I can call that one, Brandon. Not going to happen.
Well, I think I know where Brandon's going, though. The other big question that's going around is OBJ still the same guy?
Oh, sure.
Is he the same talent? Is he going to be able to go somewhere? That's the question that's been going around. So we're going to find out pretty soon.
We're going to find out real soon, because if you want him on the team, you've got to sign him by tomorrow. Because if you want him to play, he's got to be on the roster, ready to go, because there are NFL rules, right? You got to be ready on the roster and ready to go because games are kicking off on Sunday, right? Well, we got one tomorrow night, right? Mm-hmm. So he's got to be on a roster somewhere real soon, or you're going to miss that 1 week. Do you want to miss a week with a guy that apparently that talented? No, you want him on the field so your quarterback gets jacked up, the team gets jacked up and get excited, so you can get him the ball and let him do his thing. Let's see.
What's playing tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night, Baltimore versus Miami. That's going to be listen, as much as we say teams are going to get crushed, this past weekend bloodbath of teams that were in first place, listen, I'd like to say Baltimore is going to crush Miami, but you just never know. My Jacksonville Jaguars beat Buffalo. Are you kidding me? So the bottom line is anybody can win on any given Sunday, Thursday, Sunday, or Monday. So that's the game that's on.
Well, Brandon has a lot of faith in you. He thinks that you can shut down Odell.
Brandon, I really appreciate it. But listen, my goal is to be clear and transparent. I was known as the Hammer. I was not known as Deion Sanders. I like to light people up. So as a strong safety or rover, I wouldn't have anything to do with him unless I was in a deep two cover two zone. And so I appreciate it. But if he was a running back, oh yeah, we could talk then, Brandon. But no, I couldn't handle OBJ. He's too quick. Too quick.
All right, so before we get into the games, because we usually get sidetracked, and that'll take up our entire hour. Let's delve into the Packers and the whole issue with Aaron Rodgers. It seems to be getting worse. He's part of cancel culture now. He did, I think he did some egregious things. He lied about being immunized, which, okay, he's saying he didn't. Then I think he and who was the other player? I forgot his name. I wrote it down. Alan Lazard went to a team-sanctioned Halloween party when knowing they were unvaccinated, and they haven't been wearing masks either. And so they both got fined about $15,000, which I'm sure is pocket change to them. But the Packers got fined $300,000, which again is significant, but in the NFL, it's probably not quite as significant as it would be to you or I. But what do you think? I think, yeah, he has some atoning to do, and he was out of line.
Well, when you have Hall of Famers like Terry Bradshaw, Michael Strahan, Howie Long, and others from other networks come out and say, listen, you were wrong. You can't fight City Hall. You got to go. You can't fight the rib current, right? You got to go. You fight the rip current and you're going to drown. So he had an opportunity, and I think everybody who's been on our program and viewed our program knows Aaron Rodgers is the best thrower of the football, period. So I do not dislike Aaron at all. But sometimes you got to fall on the sword. You come out better when you fall on the sword. He didn't fall on the sword. He pushed back. And people on his level, right? Everybody's talking about it. Every podcast in the world is talking about Aaron Rodgers. But the bottom line is when you're on his level or retired players who are Hall of Famers speak, people listen. And it was just a matter of when they were going to voice their opinion. And everybody has. Now, it's going to simmer down when they start winning again. But until they start winning and we get a few weeks ahead of this, it'll calm down. But right now, you just can't fool people. People, right? You can't fool people. Not nowadays, you can't. You just can't do it. So fall on the sword. And we're Americans. We give people second and third chances.
True. Well, I think for me, the biggest issue isn't necessarily that, everybody has their personal choice, but to mislead everyone and say you were immunized when you weren't. And you're really putting people at risk if you're walking around without a mask. If that's your choice, then follow the protocols. The Packers had protocols in place to handle it. So I think that's my only issue with it. Do I think he should have gotten vaccinated? I still do believe in people's personal choice, but I do believe you need to adhere to the rules of your organization. And I certainly don't think you should be putting anybody at risk and misleading everybody. And that's really what he did.
Go ahead.
He's gone from one spectrum to the side of the spectrum to the other. Start off with lying. The question is, what hasn't he done? Quotes Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., which was
wrong.
Where did that come from?
You can't be reaching. You can't be reaching like that. You can't be reaching like that.
Problem with Aaron Rodgers is he thinks the rest of us are stupid. He's one of those guys he thinks he is
the smartest guy in the room.
Smartest guy in the room. And everybody else, it just doesn't matter what they think. So he went from liar, and then he went to trying to portray himself as the victim because everybody was getting after him well, I mean, you brought that on yourself. Goes from there to, the Dr. Martin Luther King statement. Then someone finally got to him, obviously, and told him, look, you need to back off. And like you said, you need to fall on that sword. And then he gives an apology that in my mind is not an apology. If you heard the apology, he makes the comment of, okay, yeah, I agree. I may have misled some people. And then goes on to say, for those who understand what I was saying, or if you even heard what I was saying. So in the same breath, he's putting it back on other people, which once again, he's saying, okay, I'm smarter than you are. So to me, it's not a good deal. But when I think about it more, I put it more on the NFL and the Packers organization, because they knew his scenario, his situation, and he was repeatedly at press conferences without masks, meeting fellow quarterbacks in the center of the field after a game without a mask. So there are many occasions where it's clear that he's not abiding by the protocols. And what do they fine him? $14,000. So they're saying
that's like a $5 parking ticket for us.
Yeah, exactly. So I put it on the league. I put it on the Packers, because obviously they allowed it to happen. It could have been stopped a long time ago.
So Justin's saying, I didn't see this, but your buddy Charles Barkley called out Aaron Rodgers also. I didn't see that. I did see, and I do want to talk about that next. That, I saw him calling out Ben Simmons. I don't know if you guys saw that, but yeah, he's over him, and his I don't know if we want to call it evading protocols and doing everything he can not to be recruited. So
You talking about Ben Simmons?
Ben Simmons.
Yeah, Ben Simmons.
Yeah, we can talk about. Yeah, I'm in the heart of that, obviously, here. But yeah, so Charles will call out anyone at any time. He doesn't give a ham sandwich who the person is, because that's his persona, that's his shtick. And so, yeah, I mean, it's a shame. It's a distraction, but he need to count his blessings that he didn't get anyone sick, as far as we know, who then took it and passed it on, and someone really got sick and was in the hospital. So,
Brandon's asking, can he be playing? He may not be playing. I don't know. Is he playing this week? I thought he wasn't. I thought they pulled him this week.
Oh, no. As far as we're concerned, he comes off of the protocol on Saturday when he can. So in other words, he can't report to the team until Sunday morning. So who's licking his chops, or who's licking their chops? Seattle. Because who's coming back this Sunday? Russell Wilson. So he's licking his chops. He's like, oh, we got, because that's a rivalry game. So Russell and his team, the Seahawks, are like, okay, we got them on their heels. They're going to have to fight that distraction for a few hours Sunday morning, get questions about it as the team walks in. I don't care. Where's the game at? Is it in Seattle or Green Bay?
It is in Green Bay.
So he's got to fight those reporters who's going to show up and stick microphones in his face. The cameras are going to be in his face as he gets out of his vehicle to walk into the stadium. He can't avoid it. So it's going to be a distraction. Can Seattle take advantage of that? We'll see. Russell Wilson's good enough to do it. Let's see if his hands, if his finger is good enough to handle coming back. But if anybody can overcome it, it's that bad man who can throw a perfect football. So we'll see. I mean, believe me, everybody's going to be watching it. Is it a Sunday night game?
4:25 game.
Everybody. So it's a primetime game. Everybody's going to be watching it.
It's going to be interesting to see for a couple reasons. I think Aaron said that he still had some symptoms. So he's not symptom free at this point, from what I
Okay.
understand.
So we'll see.
The other piece of it is, if you look back to last year and think about the Patriots and a couple of the players that did have COVID and they came back and they did not play well at all. Cam Newton came back off of COVID last year. He was dirt. And I forget the name of the other quarterback, but there was another quarterback that came off of COVID and he didn't play well either. So there's no guarantee, even if he does play on Sunday, that he's going to be 100%. You know, what he say? He's been able to do a little yoga and take a walk. I mean, that's not playing football.
Nope. I'm telling you, it's going to be very interesting that Seattle is licking their chops because they're going to be energized that their quarterback is back. And Russell Wilson is absolutely one of the greatest leaders. You know, you can put him in that same category with Tom Brady, right? In terms of quarterbacks who've won Super Bowls. He's a great leader. The team follows him. And that little dude can throw the football as well. So it's going to be interesting. I want to see it.
All right, sounds good. So, so what about those Giants this week? That was a pretty big upset. I didn't think they could beat anybody, but I think it speaks to really the season is really caught up, you know, to the Raiders. I think they had a really tumultuous, emotional week last week. And then, of course, coming off the John Goodell situation, I think Henry Ruggs, that accident was just so devastating that it finally took its toll on them.
But also regarding when you're playing fantasy football, Joe, remember teams that come from the West Coast to the East Coast usually have a deficit regarding their chances to win because they're playing at a time that they're not used to playing. So they didn't have, regardless of how much better the Raiders are than the Giants, the what's the word I'm looking for? The
jet lag.
The football gods are on the East Coast team's side when you think about the percentage. If somebody was to do a research and say what's the percentage, usually the East Coast team wins. So you have to take that in consideration when you're evaluating whether or not a team has a chance to win or not. So that's real. Teams that come from the West to the East, it's tough for them to win. So, yeah, the Giants might fall back to what they look like. Who do they have this week? No, they're on a bye this week, so they don't have to play anybody. So we'll see the following week if they resort back to losing.
Yeah, I think the other thing is I think we kind of found out last week that what we thought about a lot of these teams, what we thought we knew, we don't really know. This week is going to tell us a lot about some of these teams: Cowboys, Rams, Bills, Raiders. It's just the teams that lost last week, and basically because of how they lost. For me, the only team that I can look at right now that I really feel good about is the Cardinals. The Cardinals winning that game last week without their starting quarterback and without their two top receivers, and won the football game.
Mm-hmm. Best team in the league. Yep, best team in the league. Listen,
the rest of them.
I agree. Listen, it's all this. It's about chemistry, and you're talking about grown men who all get paid, right? So if a coaching staff makes a decision, let's take the Cowboys, for example, right? I bet you I'm willing to bet another cheesesteak. Somebody wants to bet me a cheesesteak, I'm willing to bet it. The Cowboys players as a team did not want Dak Prescott to start that game. They wanted the backup to start that game because he gained confidence in his teammates with the win that they accomplished the week Dak was out. And mentally, they know that guy needs to be rewarded, because if he shows he can win 2 games in a row, it's going to help him make more money, new contract. Maybe he goes to another team as a backup and get paid. They think about these things because they're all in the same position. When you get an opportunity to play, you don't want to play 1 game. You want to prove that you can do it 2 games in a row. And as teammates, they're going, why risk Dak getting hurt again when we've got a backup quarterback that proved he can play? So they were probably mentally saying Jerry Jones is the reason why Dak played. And they were mentally like, listen, come on, man. I mean, so I'm willing to bet that has something to do with it. The players wanted the backup to start that second game. And you can tell how they played. They didn't care at all. They didn't play well. They had no energy. And it was a mindset game. Because look what happened.
They were flat.
They got their butts kicked. It was 30-0 with like 6 minutes left in the game. That game was over in the beginning of the 4th period. They were flat. You were right. That's the word. They were flat. Because these things people don't think about, these guys are human. They all play. They all negotiate contracts. And they think, if I was in that position, I would want to play a second week in a row to prove I can play. And they're taking that away from this guy because he's obviously a nice guy. Everybody likes him, right? So give the guy a shot to play the second week and keep Dak at bay and say, listen, you can get even closer to 100%. Dak missed. How many deep balls did he miss?
He wasn't himself.
No.
And I'll be honest with you. I'm sitting there watching the game, and I'm cringing every time he gets chased, every time he gets pulled down. And I'm not even on the squad, and I don't know how healthy he really is. But I'm sitting in my recliner, just saying, please don't get hurt. And you can tell by the way he played, he is not near 100% because he's not that far off. You know what I mean? He doesn't get that far off from what he normally is, and he wasn't even close.
And that's why Jerry Jones is meddling and a bad owner, because it was his decision to put Dak out there. And why did he do it? Because Dak is about, in terms of Jerry Jones' position, sponsorships, dollars come to the Cowboys, and they're paying him a boatload of money. So he's thinking, why am I paying this guy $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 per game, maybe even $1 million a game, to let him sit? No, put him out there. I'm telling you. And you think the head coach is going to fight with the owner? No, he don't have that cachet or that capital to fight with the owner. Now, if it was Jimmy Johnson or Tom Landry back in the day, Dak would have been on the bench. But no, you got a coach that's like, okay, Mr. Jones, he can play.
Well, I certainly hope that's not the case. And I think it's probably more Dak wanting to play and saying, okay, I'm ready, put me in. I certainly hope you're wrong. I really do.
He's supposed to say that.
Well, he's made that way.
He's supposed to say that, but you gotta protect him from himself. From himself. But he went to you think Jerry Jones didn't come down to the locker room before the game and say, you ready? If Dak would have said no, he'd have been like, no, you're gonna play. So he's got no choice but to say, I'm ready. So Jerry Jones got in his mind, coach, he's ready. Let's go. Come on. It's crazy. It's all blame Jerry Jones. He keeps messing up a perfect meal, right? He's like a chef just coming out of chef school, thinking he's going to recreate a wheel and make a perfect meal his first time. No, come on, man. So I'm telling you, if it was any other owner that's a winning owner that has won Super Bowls, Dak would not have played. I blame the owner. And that's what he got. He got exactly what he deserved. The team was flat because they knew he should not have played. You can't fool those players. Those guys know what the deal is. They all are on the contract. They all think the same thing. They all have experience. They know what's going on. It's a business. It's not about playing the game because, we're little kids and I just want to play. Come on. These guys get paid and they want to win. And they knew didn't have a great you sitting in your recliner. You sitting in your recliner thinking about, oh my God, he's going to get hurt. What do you think the players were thinking?
Yeah.
The players are thinking the same thing. If he gets hurt, that's our season. We got a chance to go to the Super Bowl. Why is he playing? This guy, the backup, just came out and played well, threw touchdown after touchdown, brought us back, and we won. If it's a team game, allow the team to play.
Mm-hmm.
And Jerry Jones is not a team player. It's all about him and his Cowboys.
Isaiah's tuning in. Hi, Isaiah. You just want to say good evening.
Deuces, Isaiah.
All right. So what about the other games? So, let me look at my list quickly. I did want to say, did you hear that the Vikings, Dakota Dozier, he's been hospitalized with COVID, and it looks like he's, having some complications. So I don't know if you had heard that or not.
I just heard that. The question is, did he get vaccinated or didn't he?
I don't know.
I haven't heard. That's the question. Did he get vaccinated or didn't he? So,
but even with the vaccine, there have been very few instances when people have gotten very sick, and a few people have died. I mean,
sure,
it's such So
sure, it's a small number though.
Yeah, you're right.
It's a small number. Small number.
But I hope and Brandon pointed that out as well. So I guess he's having some other issues in addition to the COVID. It must be the complications. So I wish him well. Of course, we don't want to see.
So if he's a starter, that hurts the team because now unless the backup comes in and gets an opportunity to prove he was vaccinated from reports I read. Okay, so maybe he had some underlying conditions that we didn't know about, right? So
or maybe he didn't even know about it. Some of these young people who are being afflicted have underlying conditions that they didn't even know about. So I think that's
he's not a starter. He's on the practice squad.
Okay,
and it looks like he's now in stable condition.
Good.
So that's good. That's good news.
That's good news. Yeah. So it's not going to hurt. It's not going to hurt the team the way it would hurt if he was a starter. So they got a chance to, compete this weekend.
Right, and besides that, I think the only thing left on the list is the NFL. I mean, Justin did want to point out one story, and he's been going crazy here in the comments. So I did not hear this story. He's saying, Joe, thoughts on there's outrage after footage spread of a 15-year-old girl receiving a sucker punch allegedly encouraged by the attacker's mother during a youth basketball tournament in the LA metropolitan area. So, of course, we think that's horrific, Justin. If that did happen, I don't doubt that it did. I think that's something that's all too common in sports. So, we get the parents on the sidelines who just can't control themselves. The parents can't control themselves, and it impacts and trickles down to the children. And I think that we've spoken about that before, but
we did.
Yeah, it's definitely problematic.
Well, Adrian, you had a baseball academy. You dealt with parents all the time, right?
So I was just about to say, I sold my academy. I still train my students. And as a matter of fact, earlier this week, I was having a conversation with the new owner who I know well. And the discussion was about teams, parents and teams. And the bottom line is these days, the parents are what ruins it. Mm-hmm. It's really that simple. Back when we were growing up, the parents stayed out of it. sent us off to practice, and we went to practice, and they'd show up for the game or whatever the case may be. But nowadays, parents think they know as much or more than the coach or the staff or whoever's running the team, and they can become a cancer very quickly. And it's a shame that in these types of situations, it comes to physical violence, either between the kids, and it sounds like this time it's one of the kids hitting another kid. But what's it normally? Normally, it's a bunch of parents getting in a big fight over, who's winning and who's losing, and it's just poor sportsmanship, and it's setting bad examples, and there's just no room for it.
That parent needs to be arrested, absolutely arrested, because that's an assault, right? And listen,
Absolutely.
my mom never came to a practice, because if my mom came to a practice, she wouldn't have let me play football. Because again, my uncle had to almost get into a fist fight with my mom to convince her to let me play football. So I'm actually happy she never came to a practice, and she was usually working during a football game on Friday nights, because we didn't play very many Saturday games. So listen, my daughter played volleyball. I got, your kid plays, you get emotional, you have passion, but I'm pretty sure I didn't act a fool, because if I would have acted a fool, my daughter would have let me know. Right. So, I was all about encouraging her and rooting for her and hoping the team would win. And when she hit a good serve or block a shot, or whatever the right term is for volleyball, I was animated. I was happy. I got those juices flowing, but I never got into it with a parent. Again, I'm 6'2", 200 and something pounds. I don't think anybody would have really approached me, but so parents can get crazy. They really can.
I've seen parents in my son's little league. So we typically on the little leagues in this area, we have high school umpires. So parents screaming at these high schoolers and from the stands, it's really embarrassing. So
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it, because I would be yelling back. I'd be like, "Really? You yelling at me? You want some of this?" I couldn't do it.
Right.
Couldn't do it.
All right, so thanks, Justin, for bringing that up. We have a question, Bo Dane. Ishmael says, Bo, you think Urban Meyer is safe in Jacksonville, or is he still on the hot seat?
Well, you pull off a win against Buffalo that gives you a couple of more, a feather in your cap. His resume says he's a winner. So he's got it, he's got the quarterback. He's safe for this season. But if he doesn't turn it around next season, listen, he's got problems, because you can't have a number 1 draft pick and lose that many games and have the cachet as a winning coach that he does. So I think this might spearhead them, this win against Buffalo, to gain some confidence, right? And it's a team game. They didn't win it because of the quarterback, but they didn't lose it because of the quarterback. They won it because the defense played lights out. And, Joe, I don't know if you followed the game, but it was a historical game, because Jacksonville has a player named Josh Allen.
I saw it. I saw the play.
Right?
It was amazing.
So not only did he sack the quarterback, not only did he intercept the quarterback, he caused a fumble from the quarterback, and he got a fumble recovery. So that has never happened in the NFL, and that kind of stuff, is simplistic as it sounds, can really energize a team, because they beat a really good Buffalo team. Buffalo is really a good team. They just didn't have it that day.
It was even exciting listening to it. Josh Allen against Josh Allen. It really got incited some type of excitement, even home in the recliner. So I thought that was fun.
Oh, it was fun. And listen,
Yeah.
it was my hometown. So I'm like, yeah, baby, come on. We're going to get that. We're going to get another win. We need it. And they were in Jacksonville. More people were in the stands because, you know, if you ever watched a highlight and really focused on a game or a highlight, if you watch Jacksonville, got a lot of empty seats. Why? Because you can play golf. You can go to the beach. You can play beach volleyball. You can barbecue. You can have the TV in your backyard as your barbecue. There's so much to do because of the weather, right? So we got to get back to winning so we can fill those seats up. You know, our stadium has a jacuzzi in it for people to hang out in the jacuzzi and drink out, you know, adult beverages. So it's a great atmosphere. So you got to win in order to get people in the seats. And if Urban Meyer doesn't do it, he's gone. No coach is safe in the NFL from getting fired because the owners have enough money to pay because it doesn't go against their salary cap. Fire him and pay somebody else. Let's go.
All right, so we have another question. Isaiah is saying, what do you make of the 49ers getting blown out by the Cardinals without Kyler and Hopkins? Should Shanahan be on the hot seat?
No, they're too busy figuring out what they're going to do with their quarterback, right? Are they going to keep Garoppolo? Or they're going to, you know, they have some uncertainty there. And the fact is, the Cardinals are a great football team. They are really good across the board, special teams, offense, defense. They are a complete team. That's why they're 7-1. They've got defensive players. They've got offensive players. And the backup quarterback, Colton McCoy, is an established. He played well in college. He's played well in the NFL. He's not a starter. But as a backup, absolutely. Because backups have 1, 2, maybe 3 games in them, right? So I like the Cardinals. They're going to keep winning. I don't think they're going to make it to the Super Bowl, but I think they're going to continue this season playing well and make it to the playoffs. Go ahead, Eddie.
I think Kyle Shanahan is going to be on the hot seat. His winning percentage is .444. His career win-loss record as a head coach is 32-44. Now, the only thing saving him, as far as I'm concerned, is the fact that they did go to the Super Bowl a couple years ago. But other than going to the Super Bowl that year, his winning percentage is not very good. And if you look back, he was the offensive coordinator for the Falcons, where they went conservative in the second half of the Super Bowl and allowed the Patriots to come back and win that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's on the hot seat at this moment, but I think that by the end of this year, if something doesn't change quickly, I think he will be.
Well, I agree with you in the respects of if he and the owner and general manager are on the same page regarding the quarterback that they brought in, saying, listen, we can't count on Garoppolo. We know what he is, but we got to give our backup, our pick, time to grasp the system and allow things to slow down. Then they're going to give him a shot because that's what they're going to do. But, you know, if the team tanks, oh, sure he's going to get fired. Yeah, absolutely. And they're going to bring in a coach who says, I want to develop your quarterback that we just drafted. Garoppolo, you gone. And then that coach gets to start fresh with the quarterback and build a team from there. The problem is if you have 2 starting quarterbacks, you don't have a quarterback, right? You got to have a starter and a backup who can come in if the starter, right? You know, like the kid did from the Cardinals, right? There's no controversy, right? You have your starter and your backup. But if you have two quarterbacks and people don't know who should be the starter, come on, you know that. This ain't baseball where you need 3 starting pitchers. Right?
So Ishmael has a college football question for you. So
Oh,
shoot.
absolutely.
Yeah, go ahead.
Absolutely. Yeah, we talk college football. Absolutely. Matter of
And then
fact,
when we field that question, since we have a hard stop tonight at 10, we're gonna have to
yep,
delve into what your thoughts are about this week's games coming up.
yep. Let's hit that college question. Listen, it's go time for college teams, right? Oklahoma's got to play well. Cincinnati's got to hope that one of the SEC teams or two of the SEC teams lose. You got Ohio State playing Michigan and Michigan State, so we're going to see who's in the Big Ten is going to work its way into the to the playoffs, right? So I think it's Georgia. If Alabama doesn't lose, it's going to be Alabama, and then depending on what happens within the other power conferences, Cincinnati could sneak up and be in there. Either third or fourth, depending on how Oklahoma and Ohio State, Michigan State, and Michigan play each other. Did he send the question yet?
No, we didn't get the question, so
Or maybe I answered it. So what do you think, Abe, about college football in terms of who's going to make it to those Final Four?
Yeah. Here it is. LSU is looking for a coach, and Texas A&M Coach Fisher is their top target, and they are willing to offer him a contract that would make him the highest paid coach in
College football history.
College football history. Oh, and he's saying, do you think he should take the money or stay in AM and continue what he built? You know my answer.
Well, I'll put it this way: Texas A&M is not LSU, and Jimbo Fisher
Found that out.
comes from Florida State, goes to Texas A&M, does his thing. They're playing very well this year. They actually, depending on what happens with Alabama, because Alabama has to play Auburn, they could actually win the West if they win out. But Texas A&M is not LSU. So if they're really hot for Jimbo Fisher, I would not be surprised if he took that job.
Oh, absolutely. You can't in college. You go with you, Joe. You don't like it, but we talked about this.
I know.
It's really about the money, right? It's all about the money. If you can become LSU offered him 10-year, 170. Listen, that's oil money.
Yes.
That's oil money. Those boosters are like, we got to get back to winning. So if Jimbo Fisher wants to be $170 million richer, he's taking that deal, right? So
maybe for 17 million a year, I would break down and follow the money too. All right, that's not my usual answer. You know how I feel about the profits don't always lie in the dollar signs, but it's hard to pass up 17 million.
And listen,
just bend your pinky a little bit, Joe. Just bend it just a little bit.
Hey, and Joe, here's how it works.
Hold on, I want to tell you, I'll just buy my integrity back for 17 million a year.
And listen, you can do that because here's what happens. 10-year contract, guaranteed. At the 5th year mark, if he's not winning, they fire him and they buy him out. They pay him all that money and he goes away. Bottom line, he's not going to lose with $170 million contract. Period. Right? That's a done deal. Done deal. So he's not worried. And he probably won't coach if he gets fired at that 5-year period. He'll probably go to a network, be an announcer. They're going to still pay him as the network, going to pay him $1 million or $2 million a year. So he's going to make more money because he's getting the rest of his contract and he's getting paid peanuts to fly wheels up wherever he wants to go. Come on. He's taking that deal.
We're the wrong business. We're in the right business, but we got up our game here. 17 million. We got to do something.
And Joe, 2 years from now, when we're hanging together and we're still doing podcasts and we're talking, you're going to remember this conversation because in 2 years, a coach is going to get offered $200 million for 10, and then it's going to be $225 million for 10 because the boosters put that much. They pay that salary. The schools don't pay that salary. The boosters do.
Yeah.
And we got a lot of billionaires in this country, don't we?
We do. And three future billionaires right here on this stage. So we're going to be mingling with that elite pretty soon too. I'm going to be in that hot tub in the stadium. Maybe I'll be one of the owners and we'll be having some fun. All right, so we better get to the games. We got 4 minutes. What's coming up this weekend? What should we be on the lookout for? What are the favorite games on our horizon? Hey, what do you think?
I'll just give you the big games, Bo, and you can tell me what you think. So we have the 5-3 Saints at the 7-2 Titans.
Good game, should be interesting. I got Titans.
And Titans coming off the big win last week without Derrick Henry, and I think that was a surprise to a lot of people how well they played.
But their quarterback is a good quarterback. He knows his role. He plays his role. So absolutely, he's not trying to be something he's not.
That's true. 5-4 Browns at the now almost playoff ready 5-4 Patriots.
Oh, I got Patriots in that game.
I like the Patriots too.
You like the Patriots at home as well as the Browns just played last week. Should be a great game.
And Justin likes the Patriots too.
True. Well, that's a shock.
I think I think the Browns are going to set the Patriots back a little bit here, and we're going to have to slow that Patriot playoff talk roll a little bit.
All right. What's the next one?
What we have here, Vikings Chargers. At the Chargers.
I got Chargers. They're a good
They
team.
take care of business at home.
They're a good team. And unfortunately, I just don't have confidence in the Minnesota quarterback. He's a good player. He just haven't stepped up and got over the hump consistently to be an upper echelon quarterback. So I got the Chargers.
I agree. I take the Chargers in that game. We already talked about a little bit, but the 3-5 Seahawks at the Packers. Seahawks really need this game. Russell Wilson coming back, and we'll see if Aaron Rodgers takes the field on Sunday.
That's a tough one to pick because what's the weather going to be like? We've got Green Bay coming, and they're on their heels because of all the controversy. We've got Seattle, smelling blood in the water. If I had to pick, I'd pick Green Bay, but I'm not confident in that pick.
Well, I'm not confident in it just because you don't know, even if Aaron Rodgers plays, you don't know what you're going to get out of him after being down for so long. So I think that's a pick'em game at the moment, quite honestly. And then Sunday night, Chiefs at Raiders. Big game, big rivalry game there.
If the Raiders don't sign Odell and play him immediately, Kansas City is going to win.
I don't know. Remember last week you talked about how the Packers were going to blow the Chiefs out. Or no, I'm sorry, the opposite. The Chiefs were going to blow the Packers out. And you can see just how pedestrian that Chiefs offense is. I don't know. I don't have any confidence in it.
They're going through something.
Honestly.
They're going through something, and I don't know what that something is. But they're playing in the Dome, right, in Vegas. I don't see, anything hindering them, even if it's a 17-16 score. If they don't have Odell, Kansas City's going to win.
I'm going with the Raiders. I just don't see the Chiefs scoring enough points.
Okay.
And the Raiders beat the Chiefs last year.
Right. What about Monday night? Rams versus San Francisco.
Monday night, Rams Niners.
I got the Rams.
Yeah. Definitely Rams.
That's two West Coast teams, right? In the same conference. Yeah, that's a rivalry game. I've got the Rams.
You know, the Niners laid a total egg last week with the opportunity to beat the Cardinals without their quarterback, two top receivers, and then the Rams are coming off a loss. I don't see the Rams losing 2 in a row. That's just not going to happen.
Well,
All right.
okay.
On that note, we got to wrap it up. So, of course, I want to thank Justin, Ishmael, Sharon, everybody who tuned in. We appreciate it. Isaiah, it was a great show again. And, of course, Crispy Bacon. We couldn't do a show without you. And my two favorite gentlemen on screen and my favorite gentleman behind the scenes. And my favorite research assistant out there in Massachusetts. So thanks, everybody. And
Next week.
Justin's shouting out your shirt, Adrian. He says he loves it. So
next week.
Thank you, Justin.
Time to
Nova UCLA tomorrow night, number 2 against number 4.
Time to talk some hoops next week, baby.
That's right.
All right. I'm gonna have to get my props out. I'll have to get what do I need? I'll have to get some basketball shoes and all right, I'm in.
All right, guys.
Good night, gentlemen. All right. Thanks, everybody. See you next week.
Ease up.